Yo, what's up guys, and welcome back to another video on the channel. Today's video we're going to be taking a look at the best star power for every brawler inside of Brawl Stars. I've done this video before, but obviously there's been a lot of balance changes and also new brawlers in the game, so I wanted to bring out like an updated list for you guys. So anyway, we're going to start with Shelly as the first brawler and then move up from the trophy road brawlers like in rarity. Let's get straight into the first brawler. Okay guys, so the first brawler I'm going to be taking a look at is Shelly. Shelly's got two star powers that are not really balanced that well. So it's got Shell Shock and also Band-Aid. Shell Shock's going to be a better star power in every single game mode. Band-Aid's just got nerfed too much, and yeah, Shell Shock's just way too good. Okay, so for Nita's got two fairly decent star powers, Hyper Bear and Bear With Me. Bear With Me is going to heal 500 a second, or like 500 a hit for the bear, and like when you hit someone to the bear also. So like it's a very strong star power in gem grab, and like Hyper Bear's really strong with modes with safes in and Ike. So like Siege and Heist, you're going to want to use Nita with the Hyper Bear ability. It's super good. So as you can see, I'm playing Gem Grab with Nita at the moment. I'm using Bear With Me. Bear With Me is better in every game mode apart from Heist and also Siege. Okay guys, so the next brawler is Colt. Colt, the star powers are really balanced. It comes down to personal preference, but I like to use the speed over like the extra damage and range. I feel it gives you like better dodging ability, and it's just better overall. Okay, so the next brawler is Bull. Bull's got two really good star powers again. They're really well balanced. So Berserker and Tough Guy. Berserker is going to give you extra damage and like extra reload speed, or just extra reload speed, which leads to extra damage. And Tough Guy, which is like a shield when you go below a certain percentage of health. So I definitely recommend using Tough Guy in every mode apart from Heist. I think Berserker is definitely better in Heist, just because there's a chance that they can leave you like on the safe with Berserker and you can just absolutely melt it. Okay guys, so moving into Jessie now. So Jessie's two star powers are Shocky and Energize. Energize allows you to heal your turret like 800 a shot, so every time you hit it's going to heal 800, which is really strong. It's definitely the best star power over Shocky. Shocky just makes your turret slightly better, but it doesn't really help because your turret gets destroyed so quickly anyway. Okay guys, so the next brawler is Brock. So Brock has two really balanced star powers, so Incendiary and also Fourth Rocket. As you can see in this clip, I'm using Incendiary. It's basically complete personal preference, so I would advise using Incendiary in Heist and Siege, just so when you land those shots on like the icon, the safe, they're going to do an extra 1.2k damage, which is just really important. And then you can pretty much use a Fourth Rocket in all other modes, but they're both so viable that you can, it basically comes down to personal preference and like what you guys prefer to use. Okay guys, so the next brawler is Dyna. Dyna obviously has Demolition and Dyna Jump. So basically, if you want to have fun with Dyna, then use Dyna Jump. If you just want to play serious, then use Demolition. But yeah, it's just whatever you want to use for Dyna. Okay guys, so the next brawler is Bow. So Bow's star powers are Snare Bear and also the Vision. So the Snare Bear is a 2-second stun. The stun's going to be way better in like every map. Apart from a few select maps like Snake Prairie, which is going to be where there's a lot of grass, so you're going to want to use that Vision instead. So for Tick has two star powers that are pretty balanced, but I'd recommend using the heal. You can just heal so quickly that it's so good. The reload is definitely still a decent star power, but I just prefer using the heal. So the next brawler is 8-Bit. 8-Bit has two not very balanced star powers, so the turret range is just completely outshadowed by the extra life. Extra life is just so ridiculously good. As you can see in this clip, Jace just respawns and like can hold control, and yeah, it's just going to be so much better. So Ems is obviously a new brawler, so I'm still experimenting, but I'd recommend using the extra damage over the healing effect that you do get, as I just think it's a bit more viable, and you always like a bit of extra damage. It's always going to be good. Okay guys, so moving into the red brawlers now, and with Barley, you're going to want to use the healing star power in every game mode apart from Siege and Heist, because with the extra damage you can melt the safe and also the Ike easier. But if you feel like you're coming up against a lot of tanks, then you can definitely swap to the damage star power. It's going to help you take out those tanks a lot easier. So now with Rosa's got two pretty strong star powers, so you're going to want to use the healing grass, obviously when the map has a lot of grass on, and going to want to be using the extra damage with your super when the map doesn't have a lot of grass. So with Primo, I like to use the speed on every single map, every mode, but you can definitely use the extra damage on Heist because it is pretty strong on there still. So with Poco now, Poco has one incredibly strong star power and then a pretty weak star power. So you're definitely going to want to use the first star power. It's going to give you 800 healing that every time you shoot your teammates. It's just insanely strong. Definitely going to want to be using that star power everywhere. Okay guys, so moving into the super rare brawlers now. Starting off with Rico, I really like to use the extra speed that you get when you're low health. I definitely feel like that's the best star power, but you can definitely use the other star power, which is extra bouncy. So you're going to get extra damage and also your shots are going to be more bouncy, which some people definitely prefer, but I prefer the extra speed. So for Daryl has a very weak star power, which is the rolling reload. It's definitely not been balanced right, and I definitely feel like it's not very strong at all. So definitely recommend using the steel hoops. It's going to give you that like effect of like damage reduction, which is just really good. So the next brawler is Carl. Again, the same thing with Carl. Carl has one very strong star power, which is going to be protective pirouette, so that damage reduction, similar to Daryl, it's just much better than the quicker shots. So for the last brawler of this category, it is going to be Penny. So Penny has two decent star powers, but you can definitely use Last Blast, which is going to be where loads of cannonballs fire out of the turret when someone kills it. You can definitely use that in Siege. It's going to get a lot of damage on the Ike, but you're definitely going to want to use Balls of Fire, which is like that little barley effect. It's going to do 400 damage if you stand on it on pretty much every other mode. Okay guys, so moving into the epic rarity now. Starting off with Piper, both star powers are really strong. So one of them is going to give you extra reloads, so like 0.3 of a shot every time you hit someone. It's definitely be a really good star power, and also the 800, it's called Ambush, 800 damage extra every time you're inside a bush. So both of them are really viable. It's just personal preference. More open maps with less grass, you're going to want to use the extra reload, and the maps with more grass, you're going to want to use the ambush. So the next product is going to be BB. BB has got two really good star powers, so batting stance and also home run. So home run you're going to want to use in Siege, going to allow you to collect those bolts a lot easier. Batting stance you can use in any other mode really, but it is really personal preference. They're both really viable star powers that you can use in every mode. Okay, so for Pam you have Mama's Hug and Mama's Squeeze. Mama's Squeeze is going to be basically where you deal 500 damage to any opponents in your turret. It's definitely really strong. Mama's Hug is going to be where you're going to deal or get 40 health for every shot you hit, like inside your radius, and also going to heal teammates as well, so that's pretty good. Again, it's personal preference, but I like to use Mama's Squeeze. So for the last brawler in this category, it's going to be Frank. So you can use Sponge, which is going to give you a lot of extra health, and you can almost have 10k health with Frank, which is insane. I kind of just feel this star power feeds more and like feeds people's supers, and is not actually going to be that beneficial. So I definitely recommend using Power Grab. It's going to give you like you can hit shots of like 2.5k, and it's going to be able to like charge a super a lot easier and just to help your team out a lot easier than when using Sponge. Okay guys, so moving into one of the last categories now, the Mythic category, starting off with Mortis. So you've got Creepy Harvest and Cold Snake. Cold Snake's going to be the better star power by far. Giving that extra long dash is so much better than the 1.8k that Creepy Harvest does heal you every time you kill someone. It can just make you get kills a lot easier, and it's just really good in general. So the next brawler is Tara. Now Tara has two very similar star powers. They both spawn a pet when you use your super. One pet is going to heal you, and one is going to do damage to the enemy. So the healing pet does about 400 a second. It's definitely going to be the better star power. The healing is just so strong and give you so much value. Okay, now for Jean, both star powers are really good, and they're both definitely really viable. So one's going to give you 400 healing a second to teammates, like in this radius, which is similar to the size of a Pam turret. I prefer using that star power, but you can also use the other star power, which is like an extra 300 damage every time you got your super. That can definitely be really useful as well. So it definitely comes down to personal preference. Okay guys, so moving into the legendary category now, definitely the most exciting category of all. So starting off with Leon. Now Leon is going to have two very good star powers, so Invisi-Heal and the extra speed that you get when using your super. So Invisi-Heal is going to heal you 1k a second whilst using your super. I believe that's going to be the best star power by far. The other one's going to give you a 24 movement speed boost when using the super. They can definitely both be used, but I just prefer using Invisi-Heal. Okay guys, so moving on to Spike now. So obviously Kerbal has had a massive nerf recently, and Fertilize just keeps getting stronger with all these buffs. So Fertilize is going to be the better star power by far. It's going to allow you to heal up so much, and Kerbal's just really not that good anymore. Okay guys, so moving into Crow. Crow's star powers are definitely the most balanced out of all the legendaries. They're both really viable, can both be used everywhere. I prefer using extra toxic, so it's going to reduce the amount of damage that your opponents can do by 20%, which is just really strong. You can also use Carol and Crow. It's going to allow you to do more damage to people under 50% health, which is definitely really viable as well. Moving into the last legendary brawler now, Sandy. Now Sandy is just so strong with that healing. As you can see in this clip, it can heal in that massive area, so 250 a second to every single friendly person in that area. It's just so much value. It's definitely going to be the better star power over like a tiny amount of damage that the other star power does do. Okay guys, so that's going to be the end of the video there. Really hope you guys enjoyed. Definitely make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.